The Manila night was alive with lights, cameras, and cheers as Philippines got talent prepared for another evening of dazzling performances. Contestants from every corner of the country came, their hearts pounding with dreams of fame. The judges, Simon Cowell, Vice Ganda, and Curtis, took their seats, ready for the next performer. The stage shimmered in blue and gold lights when a quiet young man walked in from backstage, holding a battered guitar. He wasn't dressed like the others, no flashy jacket or glittering shoes, just a plain white shirt and worn jeans. His name tag read, Freddie Santos. The audience murmured curiously. There was something mysterious about him, maybe the way his eyes carried both fear and fire. Simon squinted, his sharp eyes assessing the young man. "Hello there," Simon began with his usual direct tone. "What's your name and what will you be performing tonight?" Freddie held the microphone tightly. His voice trembled at first but then steadied. "Good evening, judges. My name is Freddie Santos. I came from Davao City, and I'm here to sing a song that's very personal to me." Vice Ganda smiled encouragingly, while Ann nodded softly, sensing his nervousness. "Don't worry," Ann said gently, "just take your time." Freddie smiled weakly but took a deep breath, his fingers brushing across his guitar strings. Before starting, he hesitated, then said something that made the entire studio freeze. "But before I sing, there's something I need to say." Simon raised an eyebrow, already intrigued. Freddie looked down for a moment, gathering courage, then looked up straight at the judges and the crowd. His voice was small, almost a whisper, but it carried through the hall. "I'm here not just to sing, but to reveal who I really am. I'm the son of Freddie Aguilar." For a moment, time stopped. The audience gasped. Some people covered their mouths, others turned to each other, whispering, "Did he just say Freddie Aguilar?" Even the judges were stunned. Simon leaned forward, frowning slightly. "Wait, are you saying you're the son of the Freddie Aguilar? The music legend?" Freddie nodded, his eyes moist but determined. "Yes, sir," he replied quietly. "I never met him. But I've carried his blood and his music in my heart all my life." The crowd broke into murmurs again, phones already being raised to record this shocking revelation. Vice Ganda's jaw dropped as he whispered, "Grabe, that's unbelievable." Simon's expression softened, a rare sight. "That's quite a story," he said slowly, "but let's hear your song, Freddie. Let's hear your truth." Freddie nodded and adjusted the microphone stand. The lights dimmed, a single spotlight falling on him. His fingers trembled slightly as he positioned the guitar, then he strummed the first melancholic chords. The sound was raw, honest, and emotional. His voice filled the auditorium, low, soulful, and trembling with pain and pride. Even before the first verse ended, everyone could feel it. This wasn't just an audition. This was a confession, a son reaching out to a father who might never have known him. The atmosphere turned electric, as if the entire Philippines was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. As the lights dimmed and silence wrapped around the theater, Freddie Santos stood motionless at center stage. The judges, who had been buzzing moments earlier, now watched with quiet anticipation. His fingers hovered above the guitar strings, trembling slightly. Then he strummed the first notes, a slow, haunting melody that echoed through the auditorium. The song, titled Anak Tunay na Ama, Son of a True Father, was his own composition. From the very first lyric, it was clear that this wasn't just music, it was a piece of his soul. Freddie's voice cracked with emotion as he sang about a boy who grew up in the shadow of a famous man he never met. The lyrics spoke of nights spent wondering what his father looked like, if he ever thought of him, if he would be proud of the man his son had become. Every word felt heavy, soaked in years of silent pain. Tunay kong ama, ngunit di mo alam, akoy bunga ng pag-ibig na di mo nasundan, he sang, his tone trembling with sincerity. The audience fell completely still. Even Simon Cowell, usually the toughest and most skeptical of judges, seemed caught off guard. His stern face softened, his eyes reflecting something deeper than judgment, compassion. Ganda pressed a hand to his chest, visibly moved, while Curtis bit her lip, tears already forming in her eyes. The melody carried through the air like a whisper from the past, each strum a heartbeat, each word a cry for connection. As Freddie reached the chorus, his voice grew stronger, fuller, as if courage and grief had finally found balance inside him. His tears flowed freely, glistening under the stage lights. He didn't wipe them away, he just kept singing, eyes closed, pouring every ounce of truth into his performance. The audience began to tear up too, feeling the pain of a son who had lived in silence for too long. Simon leaned forward, his elbows on the table, shaking his head slowly in disbelief. He whispered, barely audible, "This is unbelievable." For a man who had seen thousands of auditions, something about this one pierced straight through the heart. It wasn't technical perfection, it was raw, human, and painfully real. The way Freddie sang was not to impress, but to be understood. When the final note faded, Freddie stood frozen, breathing hard, his guitar still trembling in his hands. The hall remained silent for a few seconds, that sacred silence that follows something truly extraordinary. Then the audience erupted in applause, rising to their feet in a thunderous standing ovation. And Curtis wiped her tears and stood first, clapping. Ganda followed, shouting, "Grabe ka, Freddie. You didn't just sing. You opened your heart for the whole world to see." Simon didn't speak immediately. He took a deep breath, leaned back, and simply stared at Freddie for a moment. His expression carried both shock and admiration. What he had just witnessed was more than talent, it was truth. A truth sung in pain, love, and courage. And as the cheers echoed through the arena, Simon knew this performance was one the world would never forget. The moment the applause began to fade, the judges still seemed lost in silence, each of them visibly touched, processing what had just unfolded before their eyes. Freddie Santos stood on the stage, tears still streaming down his face, clutching his guitar like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. Simon Cowell was the first to speak, his voice softer than anyone had ever heard on the show. "Freddie," he began, pausing for a moment, "I've judged thousands of performances from all over the world. But what you just did, that wasn't a performance. That was your soul speaking." The audience erupted again in cheers, moved by Simon's rare vulnerability. Ganda leaned toward his microphone, his voice trembling slightly. "You know, I've seen many contestants come and go," he said, "but I've never seen someone carry so much pain and turn it into beauty. You made us cry, Freddie, not because we felt sorry for you, but because we felt you." And Curtis nodded, brushing away her tears. "That song," she added, "wasn't just about your father. It was about every child who's ever felt unseen. You made us remember what love and forgiveness sound like." Freddie bowed his head humbly, his voice breaking as he whispered, "Salamat pa. I just wanted him to hear me, even if it's too late." Just then, something unexpected happened. The giant LED screen behind the stage flickered to life, showing a black and white photo of a young Freddie Aguilar holding a baby who looked strikingly similar to Freddie Santos. The audience gasped in shock. People shouted in disbelief, some crying, others cheering. Simon looked back at the screen, eyes wide, before turning to Freddie. "Is that you?" he asked. Freddie nodded slowly, tears falling faster now. "That's me, the only picture I have with him. My mother kept it hidden for years." The entire hall went silent once more, a silence heavy with emotion. Simon stood up, breaking his usual composure. "Freddie," he said, his voice firm but filled with feeling, "I don't care about your past, your fame, or your bloodline. What matters is what I saw just now, a man who turned pain into art. You've just made history." Then, without another word, Simon reached forward and slammed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti exploded from above, raining down over Freddie as the audience screamed and cheered wildly. Freddie dropped to his knees, overwhelmed, covering his face as tears mixed with laughter. Vice Ganda ran onto the stage to hug him, shouting over the noise, "You did it, Freddie. You did it." Simon smiled, something rare and genuine lighting his face. "You didn't just sing," he said as confetti swirled around them, "you healed generations tonight." That moment became one of the most unforgettable in talent show history. Clips of Freddie's performance spread across social media like wildfire. Freddie Aguilar's hidden son shocks the world. The story dominated headlines across the Philippines and beyond, and millions around the globe were touched by the boy who sang not for fame, but for truth, love, and reconciliation.